I don't know if I wanted to make this video a year from when chemotherapy finished, or if I wanted to make it a year after I had my PET scan confirming that the cancer was gone. But I decided that it was still important to celebrate the fact that chemotherapy had finished a year ago, and that was the end of my treatment, and hopefully the end of all cancer treatment that I'll ever have to go through in my life. And so I'll just make a different video for that, I guess, year anniversary for the PET scan. But I just still wanted to give you an update about what's been happening. An obvious one is my hair. I'm really happy with the length of it at the moment, but I made a whole video kind of dedicated to that, so I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. I still get headaches if I'm not wearing my glasses, if I'm reading a lot or staring at screens or computer screens and stuff like that, which really irritates me because sometimes the glasses themselves can, I think, cause a bit of a headache if they're a little bit too tight. So that's just something that forever annoys me, but it's not that big of a symptom to have to deal with. I still have Chemo-Brain stuff that I'm still trying to deal with, and I really feel like I want to dedicate this next year of progress to conquering the Chemo-Brain, and not necessarily removing all the symptoms that exist, not trying to undo the damage, although I think there are a lot of things that we can do to help our brain recover, but more learning to adapt and to keep pushing despite the fact that we have these Chemo-Brain things. And I think I'm going to make a video at some point more dedicated to Chemo-Brain, and hopefully not in a ranty way, but talking about things that have really helped me deal with it. But I'm still trying to learn that. So if you have any tips or ideas on how to kind of overcome Chemo-Brain, please put them down. But I've noticed that it has kind of stopped me from pursuing a lot of things, and that's something that I'm trying to deal with now. Another reason why I can't wait to get a job, because I'm still looking for employment, because I'm hoping that in full-time employment I would be able to confront some of the ideas that I have in my head now, that I'm not able to achieve as many things because I'm not thinking as fast as I used to, and I forget a lot more things now. But I think overall I have healed in the last year, but I just want to be, I want to be where I was before. If anything, I want to be better than before. So I'm still having to deal with that internally, and that's still a struggle, but I'm trying to decide that this year I'm going to either learn to adapt, or I'm just going to heal it. And obviously I'm not going to be able to heal it that much. So I'm just going to tell myself I have to adapt and keep going. And if anything, that only makes me stronger, the fact that I'm going to still go and achieve maybe even more than I thought I was going to before this whole experience. And I'm going to do it in spite of the Chemo-Brain, and the Chemo-Brain is not going to hold me back. So that is kind of a goal that I'm setting for myself. So we're going to see how it goes. But I've been doing some things to try to help with it, like something else that I maybe want to make a video about is about Dungeons and Dragons, because I love that game, and I find that playing it helps with Chemo-Brain, because you're having to improvise, you're having to be creative, and if you're the dungeon master, which I have been for a few games, it really forces you to be even more on top of remembering things and improvising, and it's all within like a very fun, exciting activity, so it doesn't feel bad, it doesn't feel draining or anything. So yeah, I've been enjoying that, and that's been one of the things that I've been doing. And something else that I want to do more is meditation, or do more yoga, because I have read a lot of things that say that just being more mindful and really training your brain to be mindful, both when you're consciously being mindful and unconsciously just living a mindful life, that helps the neuroplasticity in the brain. And that way, if your brain has more of that plasticity, it's able to heal itself better and make new connections. So that's something that I'm really trying to work on, as well as things like making sure that I eat healthy food and being on top of diet and things like that, and not in a I'm on a diet, but more just trying to create a lifestyle where what I'm eating and consuming is mostly vegetables and things that are very good for you in terms of repairing the brain especially. So Chemo-Brain is something that I'm still struggling with. It's still awful, and I'd love to hear from all of you things that you've done to combat it. Something else to do with Chemo-Brain, but something that I wanted to do on this channel, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to at this point, is live streaming. So some of you might have seen that I tried to live stream. I deleted those videos because they were just of me staring at the camera, trying to talk, but not really getting through. And so I wanted to live stream because I think that would also help with my Chemo-Brain, not only just on the fact of having Chemo-Brain and forgetting things, but also from the angle of encouraging me to keep doing things that are a little bit scary, that put me on the spot, but hopefully will keep developing, that'll help me develop those quick-witted social skills that I think get lost a bit in Chemo-Brain, because you don't think as fast and you fumble words more. But unfortunately, I don't think I have fast enough internet, not at least in the apartment, but I might try to look for other ways to live stream if that's something that a lot of people would like. But yeah, I just think it would be really nice if we could just be talking right there and then, rather than having to talk through comments, which obviously have a delay. Whereas with live streaming, we're able to chat right there, right now. And I think that would be an exciting thing to add. But yeah, it just depends on the internet. It also depends if you guys would like for it and would care for it, because I'd only want to do it if you were actively talking as well. So yeah. I don't know if I've mentioned this in the previous updates, but I've noticed that I get more nauseous easier. So a lot of people say, oh, like if I'm glancing around really fast, looking around and kind of disorientating myself, I can get nauseous. And I never had that, but I have that a little bit now. And after eating certain foods, some people get nauseous, maybe like foods that are more greasy or maybe more oil based. They might feel a bit nauseous after that. And I'm starting to get that too. And not so much from like just normal, natural, uncooked oil, like having olive oil in salads, but it's more like deep fried things. Or like I had tempura vegetables the other day, and for some reason I just felt a little bit off from it. And if it's just too oily, like I can enjoy things that are deep fried, but it's just that if I've had too much of it, or maybe just the way that they cook it, I get more nauseous. And I know a lot of people have that reaction normally, but I never did. And I noticed that I'm just more susceptible to being nauseous. Even things like drinking too much water too fast after a meal. I always just drink water. That is my drink. I am just a waterholic. Everyone knows to not offer me anything but water, because that's pretty much the only thing that I consume, and that's what I've always drank. And so I'm a very boring young adult in terms of drinking, but that's what I've always drank. And so I'm normally used to drinking lots of water, and sometimes a lot of water in one sitting. But now I have to be a lot slower with the amount of water that I drink, especially when I've eaten particular types of foods. And so that's just something that I've noticed. My belly's a little bit more sensitive, and it makes me feel a bit nauseous, and so I just have to kind of sit down and just wade it through. And I never vomit, but it's just more, touchy with that kind of stuff. And I was wondering if anyone else had that. I've also noticed that psychologically, I'm just able to handle the word cancer or cancer stories a lot better. Like there'd be times when I was going through cancer, when I had it, or cancer treatment, I would not want to hear anything to do with cancer. I wouldn't want to learn about anyone else's stories. I just couldn't deal with it because it was just too kind of triggering, I guess, and I wanted to avoid it. But now, although there are moments and days when I don't want to have to deal with that, I can deal with it a lot easier, and I feel like I'm able to handle more stories in a way that isn't actually damaging to me psychologically, which I think is really good, because that also allows me to look at research based around cancer and cancer survival rates and stuff like that without feeling too overwhelmed by it. And I think that's something that can happen for a lot of people when they've gone through some kind of trauma or tragedy. The more time that passes, normally you're able to deal with conversations about that topic better and easier. I'm hoping that the year that has passed, although I saw it as a year to, really get everything done. By the year, I'll be like really stuck into something. I'll know exactly where I'm going. That didn't happen. And I think it's because that last year that I had, for me, that was still, I guess, recovering from the cancer treatment progress. And while I'm still recovering now, I didn't realize it would be so hard finishing cancer treatment, because that's when a lot more of the mental health stuff sunk in. And that's when a lot of the kind of techniques that I'd been using to deal with the whole cancer experience weren't going to work anymore, because, often I used a lot of just, not denial, but I just wouldn't deal with it. My response was to go numb, because by going numb emotionally, or kind of just try to think about even physically going numb, I'd be able to deal with the pain, both physically and psychologically, of the entire process. And then once that process had finished, I would have to deal with all these emotions and all these things. So while that year in my head, when I finished chemotherapy, I was like, yep, by the end of it, I'm going to be like, employed. I'm going to be doing like all this study stuff. I'm going to be like totally fine. I feel like I didn't really factor in the fact that year in itself was still part of the cancer treatment. Even though it wasn't actually to remove the cancer, it was kind of to deal with what the cancer treatment had done to me. So I feel like now is kind of the beginning of the year, where hopefully I'll actually get stuck into things like work and study, and really that's going to be part of me tackling this chemo-brain, the effect it's had on me physically and emotionally. So that is kind of my biggest challenge in regards to cancer and stuff. But that's something that I'm really trying to think in terms of goals, because while I made a video talking about how I couldn't really set New Year resolutions, I feel like I have a bit more of a New Year resolution, so to speak, now, because of what this year represents in terms of the year that has passed and hopefully the year that will come. And I just want to not let Chemo-Brain slow me down, not to let it hold me back, whatever that means, even if that means that I'm not, you know, totally decided on something, even if my career hasn't gone as far as I thought it was going to be, or whether it's study or work. I just want to know that I tried a lot with different things and I didn't let it stop me from trying and from working hard. So that's really what I'm focusing on now. So that's a quick little update. I probably will make another one around the PET scan anniversary, because for me that was really when I could start to breathe easy, because this time last year while I'd finished treatment I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna have to start treatment if this PET scan isn't cleared. So they're two different types of anniversaries, but they both deserve some kind of recognition. So I'm glad I made this video. Please let me know your thoughts and experiences down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye. It's been a year since my cancer treatment stopped, so I've had a whole year of letting my hair grow, and this is how much hair I have now.